Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, einen wunderschönen guten Morgen. Ich darf Sie.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Wienerberger, also on behalf of my colleague Willy van Riet, on the occasion of the mid-year press conference. Very briefly, we would like to walk you through our results, reporting about positive, highly positive development trends within Wienerberger. And I'm underlining Wienerberger because to a certain extent we've succeeded in outperforming the market. In 2014, in the first half, revenues increased by 7% to just over 1.3 billion. So plus 7%, and our operating EBITDA has been increased by 27% to just over 135 million euros. The brick business in Europe achieved the highest volume growth. We have succeeded not only in increasing our prices to cover cost inflation, but we have also achieved volume growth in all European markets. As regards Pipe Life, our leading supplier of plastic pipes, we've seen strong growth in volumes in Eastern Europe. Pipe Life is very strong in its core markets, Sweden, Norway, and Finland. We have also achieved volume growth there. Only France and the Netherlands are the two markets where volumes declined. That is related to the economic situation and the situation with regard to infrastructure construction. As regards Steinzeug Keramo, we've seen a satisfactory trend in volumes and prices in Germany and our Eastern European export markets, including Poland and Romania. Strong growth in volume. Semmelrock is the leading company in pavers, concrete pavers in particular, in Austria and in Central and Eastern Europe. Again, we saw strong volume growth, and thanks to cost savings, results have also taken a favorable development. The United States, a mixed picture. The year started with a long and severe winter, so construction activity began rather late. We did see double-digit volume growth in the second quarter, but we are still under considerable price pressure in some of the regional markets, and therefore we needed to pursue a more flexible pricing policy, and therefore our results declined slightly compared with the same period of the previous year. So much about the first half, very briefly, of the year. A few words about the second quarter of 2014. We are still seeing good growth in brick and pipe business in Eastern Europe, in Western Europe, on account of the favorable weather conditions in the first 3 months of the year. Construction projects were started earlier, and therefore the second quarter was a bit more moderate because projects had been implemented already during the first 3 months of the year. And in France and the Netherlands, business is more sluggish than we had originally expected. When we look at our results, revenues remained stable. EBITDA increased by 3% in the second quarter of this year, and this is mainly due to volume growth in Central and Eastern Europe and also to growth to cost savings. So as I said, overall revenues up by 7% to just over 1.3 billion, operating EBITDA plus 27%, 135 million, and we have been able to reduce our net debt by more than 100 million. This shows that even in times of economic difficulties, we succeed in reducing our debt. This shows that we are a healthy company, well positioned in the market. Our business model, on account of higher stocks and a build-up of working capital, we are now seeing a certain increase in net debt, but compared with the previous year, we're much better off now. Total investments have gone up slightly because, particularly in Great Britain, mothballed plants are being started up again. In the United Kingdom, the construction sector is doing much better than on the European continent, so we started up plants that had been mothballed, and this called for certain investments. Before my colleague gives you the details about the figures, a few words about Tondach Kleinstetten. As you know, at the beginning of the third quarter, we have taken this important step. Tondach Kleinstetten is the leading clay roof tile producer in Eastern Europe, 15 production sites in 8 countries, 1,800 staff in Austria and Central and Eastern Europe. The result in 2013 was as follows: revenue 150 million, EBITDA 20 million. This is what we expect for this year. A favorable development as regards Tondach Kleinstetten. Our outlook for 2014 is revenues of 155 million, 23 million EBITDA. We're going to bring the level of net debt down to 60 million by the end of the year. This is an important step because it positions us more strongly in core markets of Wienerberger. A few words about the history of the company. In 1992, the company started to expand Tondach Kleinstetten, originally in southern Styria. Then it expanded into Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, the Balkans, down to Macedonia and Romania, even Bulgaria. So a very strong growth over the past 20 years. Today, the company is the leading company in clay roof tile with a strong focus on product quality. It's the best brand, the best product quality in Central and Eastern Europe, and strong customer relations in its core markets. The company focuses on roofs, solutions for pitched roofs, not only roof tiles, but all the accessories that are needed on the roof and underneath the roof for a high energy efficiency. The renovation market is also important for Tondach, because what we are seeing currently is that clay roof tiles are the preferred material for roof renovation to achieve a high degree of energy efficiency. Not only our own studies, but also studies made by research institutes have shown that more than 30% of energy can be saved by renovating the roof. So we are really following the trend as far as energy efficiency and renovation is concerned. Tondach offers complete solutions for pitched roofs, for private single-family houses with a high energy efficiency, but also for row houses, semi-detached houses, clay roof tiles in different colors, different surface qualities. We are also operating in multi-family residential building. Pitched roofs are still the preferred type of roof in Austria, although there is an architectural trend towards flat roofs, although given the weather conditions in Austria, snow and water, flat roofs are not ideal. Here are a few examples. We are active in the field of renovation, particularly of classified buildings, and Esterházy Palace from Hungary. This is an interesting solution from Austria, a cultural center at Greit. An urban roof landscape, the Museum Quarter in Vienna, the Vienna Hofburg Palace, also has a roof of clay roof tiles. This is the roof landscape of the city of Prague. Overall, Tondach for us is an important strategic step towards growth because it gives us a leading position as a supplier of roof tiles and roofing systems. We have a strong growth potential in the renovation market. And once the Eastern European market picks up, this will also give us a strong position in new housing construction. We have a modern industrial base in all the countries where we are already represented with our block business. We focus strongly on renovation and subsequently, hopefully, on new housing construction. We have potential synergies. We can see potential synergies in the amount of 3 million, and we hope that we can generate even higher synergies. So that is a good broadening and strengthening of our core business in the most important Central and Eastern European markets. So this has made Wienerberger the leading company in Western and in Eastern Europe in clay roof tiles. So Western Europe and Eastern Europe are well integrated. Our group revenues of 1.3 billion, that is 14%, is contributed by roof tiles. And as far as EBITDA is concerned, the roof tile contribution is 24%. So strategically speaking, this has been a decisive growth step for Wienerberger. And with this, I hand over to my colleague, Willy van Riet. I will walk you briefly through the results of 2014, first half of the year. A clearly positive picture if you compare the first 6 months of 2014 with those of 2013. Revenues plus 7%. I'll give you the details later on. Operating EBITDA plus 27%. That is, the margin has increased from 8.4% to 10% in the first half of 2014. Depreciation at the same level as 2013, but thanks to the operational improvement, our EBIT increased strongly from 4.9 to 33.5 million. The financial result, a slight improvement compared with the same period of last year, a better cash position and a better contribution from Tondach, the restructuring of Tondach. So we have a positive profit before tax of 4.5 million compared with minus 29.2 million the year before. We are paying income tax because we are operating profitably in a number of countries. So there we are paying taxes. We have a profit after tax of minus 1.7 million compared with minus 31 million the year before. The trend is going to continue in the course of the year. I'll come back to that later. Revenue growth is mainly strong organic growth. It does not include any consolidation effect. It's all growth that we ourselves have generated. Sales volume increased by 8%. Prices increased on average by 1%. We have still have a number of very difficult markets, but even there we were able to increase our prices. Of course, we also increased prices in markets that were doing better. Overall, a price increase by 1%, and like others, we suffered from foreign currency effects, particularly the Norwegian crown, which is important for us, and also the Russian ruble. The Norwegian crown is important because of pipe life. The Turkish lira also contributed to that, and the US dollar. The British pound took a favorable development. Overall, however, we have a very positive situation because the positive price development allows us to almost entirely cover our cost inflation. What else have we been doing? As you know, we started our restructuring program in 2009. We brought our overheads down at that time and then followed a second wave in 2012. We focused on the countries of Western Europe, the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, and France. This year, we intend to achieve cost savings of 17 million in all. 11 million have already been achieved in the first half of the year, and I'm confident that we're going to manage the remaining 6 million by the end of the year. So from our restructuring program, considerable cost savings. In addition, there is the sale of non-operating assets, that is plants that have been closed down, real estate that is no longer needed. So we are on target there, but we're not selling at any price, at any cost, but we are on schedule. During the first half of the year, we have already obtained proceeds in the amount of 3.3 billion and contributed 2.4 million to EBITDA. So the program is continuing. If I just may remind you, we intend by 2016 to generate 100 million in additional cash flow from these sales of non-operating assets and restructuring measures. So let's look at a breakdown of our result by business units. 53% of our revenues are accounted for by clay building materials, that is blocks and roof tiles, and 72% of our EBITDA. This is due to the fact that Western European markets have taken a positive development. Pipes and pavers, that is our plastic pipes, ceramic pipes, and pavers, Semmelrock, contribute 38% to revenues and 34% to EBITDA. It's a very stable business. And in North America, contributing 8% to revenues and 2% to EBITDA. Broken down by product, wall products, that is mainly our blocks, contributing 22% to revenues and 23% to EBITDA. Roof products, 34% contribution to EBITDA. That underlines the importance of our roof tile business, particularly in the renovation business. Facing bricks or facade products, 20% contribution to EBITDA. That is due mainly to the fact that Western European markets are doing better. Pipes are contributing 32% to EBITDA and 36% to revenues. So we have a well-balanced product portfolio that benefits from a certain recovery in new construction and in the renovation market, and not only in the residential market. So we have a much broader basis than a number of years ago. Our cash flow. Development of cash flow in the first half of the year. plus 26 million gross cash flow. And we're doing better as far as working capital is concerned because we're better by 31 million. We spent a bit more on investments, capital expenditure, and divestments are lower. Our free cash flow, that is money available for payout of dividends and the hybrid coupon, and also for growth investment. During the first half of the year, growth CapEx was low, but with the acquisition of Tondach, that's going to increase in the second half of the year. But altogether, we had 41 million more cash out, which for a seasonal business like ours, that is a very good performance. Total investment, 52.2 million compared with 43.3 the first half of 2013. Certain investments that had been planned for 2013 were only made in 2014 because, as you know, 2013 had a very difficult start. So certain investments were moved from 2013 into 2014. And we also invested in markets that are doing well. That is the United Kingdom and a number of Western European markets. So we invested more in capacity increases there. Our investments are not only maintenance investments, it's more than that. Whenever we invest, we try to improve a plant as a whole, increasing its performance and increasing its capacity. So whenever we do invest, the performance of a plant increases. Our balance sheet, the build-up in working capital is, of course, reflected here, but we had 800 million net debt at the end of the first half of 2013. That has been brought down to 539 million, and that corresponds exactly to the buildup of working capital by 150 million. So everything is well under control. We have a very low gearing and an excellent equity ratio. So let me summarize. We had strong and satisfactory organic growth in all fields of business, which led to an improvement in revenues and EBITDA. The takeover of Tondach is going to open up additional growth potential in a large market, particularly in the renovation business. The sale of non-operating assets and restructuring measures are going according to plan, and our net debt is well under control, and the ratio of net debt to operating EBITDA will be lower than 2.5 by the end of the year, including the acquisition of Tondach.
Thank you very much, Willi. I would like to briefly present the outlook for 2014. We are in the midst of August, so the developments of the first half year in Europe and North America are behind us. So what is our assessment of the development for 2014? As already mentioned, we find a larger number of housing starts in the United Kingdom, particularly multifamily homes. The increase was stronger than expected. We have clear double-digit growth in the United Kingdom. This, of course, has a positive impact on our exports from the continent, that is to say Belgium and Netherlands, the exports of clay block, of facade bricks to the UK. 3% plus is better than we expected. Poland also shows a positive trend. This is something that we predicted at the beginning of this year. So these are the markets which are essential for Wienerberger, and they are positive. Stable markets, Germany, the German-speaking countries, Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, more or less. There are regional exceptions. One thing should be mentioned in this context. Germany does not show extreme growth when it comes to 1- and 2-family houses. There's more building in urban regions, multi-story buildings. When it comes to 1- and 2-family homes and in the suburbs, there is not a lot of growth to be expected this year. The Netherlands, a very important country for roof tiles and facade bricks, are negative, minus 15% regarding housing starts, 1- and 2-family homes, which is the most important market in the Netherlands. So here we have clearly a more negative trend than originally expected. France also suffers, the whole economy suffers. This also impacts housing starts, minus 8%. So we have a downward trend, a difficult market environment, more difficult than originally expected. Italy is a candidate for another decrease, of course, but we did not expect 11%. And the northern Italian market suffers in particular, and this is the market where we are active. Slovakia and the Czech Republic are clearly negative, and this also holds true for Hungary. Actually, there we had a very low level already, but there was a further decrease. So in the Eastern European markets, there's little building activity. There are few new housing starts. And this is what Willy van Riet underlined. We need to make sure that with the new structure of Wienerberger, we achieve a positive result. That is to say, we need growth on the one hand, and this is difficult considering the market environment, and we must also be profitable. As regards the other markets, I would say they are stable, and where there's an unstable political climate, we have a slight decrease. United States, a weak start, recovery in the second quarter of the year. We hope, we expect this to continue. So we expect a 10% plus in 1- and 2-family houses in the United States. This is not exactly what we expected. The forecasts for the United States were way above 20%. We are a bit more conservative, so we expect about 10% growth in North America this year. When it comes to the renovation market, things are a bit more positive. So Wienerberger in recent years has focused on these markets. Here we have a stable situation or slight growth rates. This is thanks to our commitment in the roofing sector and also in the pipe sector and the renovation sector. And this is why the situation there is stable. Ladies and gentlemen, there is another thing that I would like to mention, because this question comes up again and again. What about the situation in Austria? After the acquisition of Pipelife and Tondach, Wienerberger in Austria has about 40 sites. This, of course, also includes the distribution system, the outlets that we share with Pipelife. But altogether, we have 40 sites in Austria. That includes production sites, sales offices, and headquarters. We have more than 1,000 employees, and the share in group revenues is 8%. So the Austrian market is or has become a very relevant market for Wienerberger. We consider this market to be stable at a satisfactory level. Also, when it comes to 1 and 2 family houses. There's a positive trend towards using bricks. We have the bricks with high thermal insulation, and we also offer infrastructure solutions, pavers, Semmelrock and Pipe. Altogether, the group results for the individual units. When it comes to CBM Europe, we expect a moderate volume increase in 2014. Price increases will compensate for cost inflation, which will be about 2%, a bit higher in Western Europe, less in Eastern Europe, but altogether a positive picture. Cost reductions have already been mentioned by Willi. We will have 17 million savings potential as expected. In the first half, we have realized 11 million. The remaining 6 million are expected for the second half of the year. So this shows the impact of our cost savings program of amounting to a total of 50 million. As already mentioned, we will get 10 million from the sale of non-operating assets. As to the consolidation effect of Tondach, Kleinstetten in CBME, this will contribute 90 million to group results and another 15 million to the EBITDA. So altogether, we will have a revenue and earnings increase. North America, double-digit growth, as expected. We will need to have a more flexible price policy. We will have to continue this flexible price policy. And in Canada, we probably will see an earnings decrease. We are very active in the Toronto region. There's Carrickcraft, and the new housing starts have gone down to some extent, so there will be a slight earnings decrease in Canada. Pipes, here we are active in Kansas and Texas. The development is stable, and there's even slight growth. So we have actually forecast a stable earnings development for North America altogether. Pipes and pavers, Europe. Pipe Life in the first half of the year and throughout the year, we see a very positive trend in Nordic, Eastern European markets. We had a very strong in the international business project sector last year. There were a number of international energy projects, and we found that there was a sharp decrease in the first half of the year. This was expected, however, because this is a cyclical business, and international projects, of course, also depend on developments in the oil industry. But we are confident that there will be new projects in the second half of the year. So we expect the business environment to be better in the second half of the year. There will be a slight revenue growth for Pipe Life owing to the difficult market situation, particularly in two core markets, France and the Netherlands. Steinzeug, here the situation is positive, no big news. Semmelrock, again, the trend will continue. We are increasingly moving towards higher value products. So for the overall segment, pipes and pavers, we see a stable earnings development. A brief summary of our strategy. As Mr. van Riet mentioned, we are no longer a mere brick manufacturer. We are a company that offers solutions. Thus, we can enter markets that include not only housing starts but also renovations. The acquisition of Semmelrock Steinzeug Pipeline were a strategic step. Tondach, #1 in Europe. So these were necessary measures in order to solidify our portfolio. We have a share of 60 or more % in some of these segments. What is important is that we not only focused on cost decreases, cost reductions, we also consistently focused on innovation in marketing, in distribution. We focus on system solutions, be it the roofing segment or pipes, and we continue to pursue this policy also in our energy policy, and we want to achieve technological leadership. So we have invested considerably. We have more than 200 production sites, and they all need to be state-of-the-art if we want to be technological leaders. What is also important is product innovations. Every year, a large number of new products are launched on the market, and this, again, is necessary if you want to be successful in this difficult market environment. In all segments, whether it's pipes, pavers, CBM, Europe, let me show you a few examples. The first, carbon-neutral vitrified clay pipe. This pipe has a life cycle of more than 100 years. It is carbon neutral, and here again we have been able to save production costs. We use new gas in our production, and also we compensated with climate protection projects. So we have a leading position in the public procurement sector in Germany. People frequently ask, what about the future of bricks? I would like to show you a comparison between a brick building and a timber wood structure. Let's compare these types of buildings, and let's take a simple example. The so-called U value, standard value for low energy houses. Here you can see a comparison that was actually drawn up by independent institutes: a concrete building, a timber frame house, and a brick house. What is important, of course, is that there's a healthy climate in the building, but that's something else. Here we simply look at costs. And you can clearly see that when you look at the costs of a square meter of walls or material costs of building materials, brick is extremely attractive. And here, of course, we are using bricks. When you have a concrete building, there is no insulation. You need to have additional insulation. For a home builder, it's not only construction costs, but also additional costs. Bricks will have a life of more than 100 years. There are examples of 200-year-old brick houses. Let's take a period of 60 years only, and let's consider maintenance costs. For a concrete building, renewal of insulation, this is necessary because it has a lower life, and the same holds true for timber frame buildings. Again, a comparison with a brick building. Bricks with thermal insulation clearly mean a cost reduction. I'm showing you these examples because Wienerberger in the future will use these arguments on the market. We want to explain the energy efficiency, the advantages of a product, the life cycle of our product to the end user. We'll talk about recycling, the carbon footprint, and we can show that brick houses have an advantage. We have invested, even in times of crisis, in Austria and Germany and the Czech Republic into the production of bricks with stone wool filling, and we have achieved good growth rates. For the first time in the United Kingdom, a country using a lot of wood and concrete buildings, we have finally succeeded in selling our clay blocks. Barratt is the largest house builder in the United Kingdom, and together with Barratt, we have built 1,500 homes with porotherm clay blocks, and this will definitely usher in a new trend. The overall goals of Wienerberger for 2014 are as follows. Including the takeover of Tondach, we will have an EBITDA of 315 million. Real estate sales will contribute 6.10 million. And price increases will more or less compensate for cost inflation. Normal investment slightly higher, 130 million. So we have moved investments from last year to this year. But we have also made new investments in the United Kingdom, for instance. Growth investments, a total of 48 million, thanks to Tondach acquisition and the expansion of Pipelife in the United States. We're working to full capacity there and are prepared for the American market. Depreciation 210 million approximately, and interest result about 55 million. Working capital, here we are not expecting any major changes. Rather, the changes will be in line with the revenue development, and cost savings should be about 17 million in 2014. So I think that in a rather unstable environment in Europe, we have shown a rather stable growth, and this is organic growth, as has already been pointed out. And I think this is the result of the structural changes in Wienerberger during recent years. Thank you very much. I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much. I have a number of questions, but first about the cost comparison between new construction and renovation. Why didn't you include that in your document? Is that a problematic comparison? Well, for a very simple reason. I just wanted to draw your attention to that. You will be able to download everything relating to that comparison from our homepage. My second question refers to the broadening of your fields of business. You mentioned a list of acquisitions. You may have additional ideas, and you may want to broaden the basis of your business even further. You may not want to give us a name, but in which areas do you intend to invest in the future to continue your strategy? For the time being, we're highly satisfied with Wienerberger's product portfolio. It's a well-balanced portfolio which has a great potential. We have a potential for organic growth in the brick segment, not only as far as our capacity reserves are concerned, but also our products. And in the field of pipes, we still see a great potential for us to grow. We don't really need to make acquisitions. I think we can increase our strength through organic growth. So for the time being, you are not aiming at a further acquisition. No, nothing in that respect for the time being. You said with regard to your roofing business that you expect the Eastern European market to recover one day, and you can see great opportunities there. The Eastern European market is very heterogeneous, and growth is not satisfactory for the time being. When do you expect the market to recover? Well, the Wienerberger team is different from what it was in the past. We never use a term like unsatisfactory. We have new realities, be it in Croatia, be it in Hungary or elsewhere. There are certain things you have under control and others you don't have under control. You can't take an influence on that. The growth years are a thing of the past. Nowadays, we are confronted with a completely different reality in the market, and we've adjusted to that reality in order to be able to operate profitably in these markets. Of course, we have growth reserves, we have reserve capacities, we have good plants in these countries, and we can cover a much higher demand volume, and we're going to do so. If it's next year, in 2 or 3 years, we do not know, but we are convinced that markets like Hungary, the Czech Republic, or Romania will grow at some time in the future. That is a logical consequence. When it's going to happen, I can't tell you. All I can tell you is that Wienerberger is operating in these markets and is earning money in these markets. We are earning money because there are wastewater projects underway in Eastern Europe, and with our plastic pipes and our ceramic pipes, we're doing business there. So our broad portfolio helps us. We're no longer dependent entirely on new housing construction. Renovation is going on also in Eastern Europe. If a roof leaks, it's going to be renovated also in Eastern Europe. What is Wienerberger's position regarding the big growth markets in East Asia, India and China? Well, we do have a successful plant in South India. It's working to capacity. We are gathering experience in this market. You will not be seeing us in the Chinese market. We will not go there because we can see enough growth potential in our core markets. We are represented in Russia. We are represented in Eastern Europe, in North America. Plus 10% growth is interesting in North America, no matter what China is doing. So Wienerberger is going to limit itself to these growth markets and will not expand into other regions. In recent years, you closed down and mothballed a number of plants. How many were mothballed and how many of them are being reactivated or sold? Well, talking about reactivating plants, we are reactivating production lines in the United Kingdom. That is, in existing operational plants, certain lines were mothballed. They are being reactivated. Another site in the United Kingdom will be started up again, a site where the plant was mothballed entirely. Apart from that, we've not reactivated any production lines in Europe. In the United States, 2 lines at existing sites were reactivated. We closed altogether about 60 sites in our multi-annual restructuring program, which began in 2009. Many of these plants have already been sold. I can give you the detailed figures later on, and that's all contained in the 100 million package of non-operating assets. By the end of the year, approximately 30 million will have been realized, and the rest will remain for subsequent years. Most of the 60 sites have already been realized. A question about your employees. Are you recruiting new employees in Austria as well? Well, we're always looking out for qualified staff, be it in Austria, in Europe, or North America. And in the future, we're going to do more in the field of apprentice training. Apprenticeships are important for our plants. We need a skilled labor in the field of IT, but also things like welding. So we are active throughout the European Union and always on the lookout for qualified young colleagues. So you're not intending to recruit additional labor in Austria. You currently have about 1,000, yes, and the figure is going to remain stable. You mentioned Barratt, the housing developer in the United Kingdom. Any results you could tell us in this respect? And another question referring to climate change and the disastrous developments that may result. Is a porotherm brick wall more stable than the wall of a timber frame building? The United States in particular was hit by disasters in recent years quite frequently, so the U.S. market would be a market for the future. Well, as regards the United Kingdom, the construction method is a double shell one. You have facing bricks, then an air void for insulation, and then a load-bearing structure mostly made from timber or aerated concrete or concrete blocks. And in the 1,500 housing units I mentioned, built by Barratt Homes, we succeeded in convincing Barratt to use precision ground bricks manufactured in France and Belgium. A number of these housing units have already been built, and as you can imagine, in a highly traditional housing market like the United Kingdom, it's difficult to convince bricklayers, for example, ever to use such products. And if masonry workers and bricklayers once start using precision ground bricks, they will find out that bricklaying is much faster using such products. And I'm confident that we will be winning market shares. The first results are successful. There is an upward learning curve. We are preparing the market. It's going to be a multi-annual process. For North America, we have developed our so-called endurance brick. It's a combination between clay block and facing brick. You don't need an additional wall structure because this endurance brick wall is load-bearing, and we've already set up a number of buildings on that basis. We're now talking to the American authorities about hurricane resistance and about flooding. You mentioned the natural disasters. You always have to bear in mind that even if we feel we've got a solution, the public authorities are much slower. We need to obtain the necessary approvals. We need to develop reference projects, but I'm confident that we're going to win market shares.
Vielen Dank. Vielen Dank. Danke.